I foresee a problem with what we call based Zoomers because they are basically uber conservative. They are kind of like Mary Whitehouse on steroids. Of course, she wouldn't go near them. And they don't see any value in the culture that we're trying to preserve. You know, we're trying to reclaim the culture from the left who turned it into wokeness. They see it as degenerate. They see Monty Python as degenerate. They see everything that's influenced us and told us about the way the world is in the past that we've admired as a piece of art as degenerate. They don't have any appreciation of art. They don't understand anything. They're just like... They think they need to follow God. They think they need to, not indulge in anything. If there's any kind of fun, sex before marriage, for example, hey, they can't do that. We're becoming this kind of hardline conservative society now. Because it's a direct result, a direct antithesis to the clown world that we were, to the ultra-libertine, liberal world order that there was, which destroyed everything. Why can't we just have balance? Why can't we just have equilibrium? Why can't we just have moderation? I thought that was the key to life, not just obliterating everything and then going from one extreme to the next. No, we can't have moderation because no one seems to have consensus on that. No one agrees that we need to moderate and balance our behaviour. No, we need to restrict it or indulge in it. We either restrict it completely or indulge in it. We can't just moderate. No. And because of this societal polarity where people feel like they have to be one side or the other, and there's no room for nuance, there's no room for context, and context doesn't matter anyway. See, that ultra-conservatism doesn't sit well with people who are reclaiming the culture, because we see music like punk and rock and roll and all that kind of stuff as influential in our development. We don't see it as degenerate. We don't see it as satanic. And indeed, a lot of it isn't. A lot of it is about stopping war and calling out, warmongers, etc., like Iron Maiden. That's what a lot of those lyrics were about. Even Black Sabbath. But no, everything that's slightly fun, everything that involves indulging and not praying or just being a complete stick or a square is degenerate, isn't it? Because the word degenerate is getting abused. No one can define what it is. No one can define what it isn't. It's like based. Everything that contributed to this society being broken the way it is now and being as perverted and corrupted as it is now gets called degenerate. Even if it didn't do that, even if people didn't notice it en masse and it was just a piece of art then that made a satirical point or referenced something that was happening in the world, that doesn't matter. It gets dismissed in the degenerate pile. And I don't like that. I don't want that kind of authoritarian world. They seem to want it. I don't want the left to get rid of all the culture because it's offensive to black people. I don't want the right, the new Zoomers, to get rid of all the culture because it was degenerate. I don't want any censorship. What the hell's the problem with everyone? But resisting censorship seems to be very unpopular right now. That's how the censorship industry won. And speaking of censorship, why is the mainstream media suddenly so quick to go on this psyop and discredit Q? They have all the lunatics that believe in the flat earth going on their BBC programmes saying, yeah, I believe Q, yeah, I believe there's all children doing this, yeah, I believe there's flat earth, yeah, I believe aliens, yeah, I believe ghosts, yeah, I believe every conspiracy. Just every conspiracy, they believe it. So you get this person on, you say that all Q people are like that, you discredit them, and then it works as a piece of propaganda. But there's a bigger question that people should be asking. If conspiracy theories have been around for ages, why are they suddenly now a threat? Because more people are finding out about them, yeah. Well, why is that a problem if they're not true? Surely you can just debunk them. Oh no, you can't, can you? Because they are true, aren't they? Because Chrissy Teigen deleted all her tweets, didn't she? And she's been caught with Hollywood and she went to Epstein's Island and she was actually obviously making paedophilic references in her tweets. And admitting it. They all are. They all do. That's all they do. That's their virtue signal. And they're allowed to do that. And Twitter permits it, but when people find out about it, then they delete it like crazy. Why is that? Why do they permit it until people get outraged by it? Well, it's clear that they're protecting the paedophile rings, they're protecting the VIP system of blackmail, and they're protecting the terrorists and funding them. And that's what Q shows us. That's what Q drops are all about, exposing child trafficking, exposing Hollywood paedophilia, exposing the Epstein links, exposing everything to do with the Democrats and to do with the deep state and John Podesta. It's not a conspiracy theory. There's evidence everywhere, but the media says it's just a theory, even though it's about following the money, which is always a theory. It's about looking at actual evidence, linking things together, putting a million, you realise eventually that this many coincidences are mathematically impossible, and that's indeed one of the phrases that Q uses, but people who don't believe in Q will never believe in Q. And people who believe the mainstream media will always believe the mainstream media. If they still believe the mainstream media narratives at this point, they're never going to wake up. They are collaborators, they are normies, they are useful idiots, and they are our enemy. That's why I listen to Vernon Coleman. Because he actually talks about them being collaborators. He actually says they are the enemies. They are the collaborators. These people that force the mask regime on everyone else, all the general public, they have a choice. You can either believe, you can investigate, you know there's something to know. But if you don't want to know it, then you're ignorant. And if you're ignorant, you deserve to be attacked because you are working for the system which is oppressing humanity and enslaving the population. That's all it's doing. And you're enslaving them as well. And us people who have been trying to wake up the population and stop it getting enslaved, we have to be enslaved as well because of your selfishness. And that's what it is. It's selfishness. You're scared because you're deluded, because you believe the mainstream media, because despite knowing that there's something to know, you don't want to know it because it would mean going against your own cognitive dissonance. Collaborators. Traitors.